Hey everyone! Thank you very much for joining us for another story here at Any Narrates. The title for this one goes like this. After years of getting taunted for my appearance from my stepmom and saying that I am not good enough for my boyfriend, I finally break down and expose her truth to my dad. She calls me a liar, but I bring evidence and oh boy, she doesn't take the loss gracefully. Hi, I, Hailey, 26 female, have been dating my boyfriend Charles, 27 male, for over a year now. Our story began in the vast world of the internet. Yup, we're one of those online dating success stories. We connected over our mutual obsession with movies and TV shows, and let me tell you, it was like finding a rare treasure. Our virtual rendezvous started with a simple hello and quickly escalated into long conversations about our favorite shows and movies. We discovered that our taste in entertainment was eerily similar, and that became the glue that held our budding relationship together. From classic films to binge-worthy TV series, we could chat for hours without getting bored. It was like having a personal film critic as my new best friend. Now, let me shine the spotlight on Charles. He's not just your average guy. He's the proud owner of a successful marketing agency. Yes, you read that right. He's a business whiz. It's incredible to see how he's turned his passion for marketing into a thriving venture. His dedication and hard work are truly inspiring, and I can't help but feel proud to be by his side. As for me, I spend my days immersed into the world of graphic design. I love turning ideas into visually stunning creations, and it's a career that constantly challenges and fulfills me. Charles and I may be in a different professional realm, but we share a mutual respect for each other's work. It's pretty cool to have a partner who not only understands, but also appreciates the creative energy I pour into my projects. Our journey together has been filled with laughter, shared dreams, and plenty of memorable moments. From cozy movie nights at home to adventurous weekend getaways, we've created a tapestry of experiences that make a relationship uniquely ours. It's not just about grand gestures, it's the everyday joys and quirks that make us smile. But this story isn't about our relationship, but about my stepmom Rachel, 45 female. She got married to my dad John, 52 male, 2 years ago. Before the wedding bells, they'd been dating for over 7 years. Now, Rachel is a seasoned lawyer, and my dad runs a pretty successful construction business. They're a dynamic duo in their own right. However, from day one, it's felt like Rachel has a peculiar hobby, teasing me. Yep, I'm the target. I guess it's her way of making things interesting. I'm not exactly sure, but here are a few instances that left me scratching my head. The first time Rachel unleashed her taunting prowess was during a family barbecue. We were all gathered, enjoying some grilled goodness, and out of the blue, she decided it was the perfect moment to comment on my appearance. I was reaching for seconds when she slyly quipped, "Careful there, Hailey. Don't want to add more to that charming figure of yours." I shrugged it off, thinking maybe it was a one-time thing. But oh, was I wrong. A few weeks later, we all sat down for a cozy movie night. I had just settled down with a bowl of popcorn when Rachel, with a grin on her face, said, "You know, Hailey, they say sitting too much isn't great for your waistline." Now, it's not like I'm blind for my love for snacks, but seriously, movie night? Then came the family photo session. We were trying to capture the moment of unity, and just as the photographer was about to click, Rachel decided to drop another gem. Let's make sure Hailey's camera angle is just right. We wouldn't want to overshadow the family glow with, a little extra glow. I managed to laugh it off, but deep down, it stung a bit. Now, the pinnacle of Rachel's taunting expertise was when she somehow managed to turn my job into a joke. Picture this, we're at a family dinner, and the topic shifts to careers. When I proudly mentioned my graphic design gig, thinking I would get a nod of approval, Rachel chimed in, "Well, Hailey, at least your job doesn't involve heavy lifting. Those office chairs can't handle a bit of extra weight, right?" Ouch, Rachel, ouch. These instances left me wondering if there's a hidden camera capturing my reactions for some reality show. But jokes aside, navigating through these taunts has been challenging. I've tried addressing it, laughing it off, and even avoiding certain family gatherings. It's a constant struggle, but I was learning to let those comments slide and focus on the positive vibes around me. things took a detour for the worse since I started dating Charles. So Charles, my soon-worthy boyfriend, is practically a gym magician. He loves to exercise, and his diet is like a carefully crafted masterpiece. The guy practically lives for a good sweat session. Me? Well, I'm not on the same fitness level, and I'm totally okay with that. I'm no fitness guru, but I'm definitely not overweight. Enter Rachel, the stepmom with a penchant for delivering blows. Since Charles and I became an item, she's taken it upon herself to be my personal critic. It's like she's the judge in my own reality show called Is Hailey Good Enough? Spoiler alert, it's not exactly uplifting. The first time Rachel decided to drop a comment was during a family dinner. I was casually mentioning how Charles had motivated me to join him for a jog. Instead of a simple, "That's great," Rachel chuckled and said, "Well, maybe you can keep up with him if you sprint to the fridge more often, Hailey." It was meant to be a joke, but it felt like a jab at my efforts to be active. Then there was this infamous beach day. We all decided to soak up the sun, and Charles, being the fitness enthusiast he is, suggested a game of beach volleyball. As we got into the game, Rachel couldn't resist adding, "Careful, Hailey, you might want to stick to the sidelines. Don't want to slow down the team with all that extra baggage." Ouch, right? But the real kicker came during a family gathering where the topic of relationships and compatibility took center stage. Rachel, with a sly smile, decided it was the perfect time to share her 2 cents. "You know, Hailey, Charles is quite the catch. A successful businessman, good looks, and well, let's just say you're lucky to have him. Not everyone can back someone like that." I sat there, stunned, as she basically implied that I wasn't good enough for Charles because of our differences in wealth and appearance. It's tough, dealing with these not-so-subtle hints that I'm not measuring up to. Charles has been nothing but supportive, but Rachel's comments linger like a dark cloud. The struggle to maintain my self-esteem amidst these remarks is real, and I often find myself questioning if I'm indeed worthy of someone as amazing as Charles. Not only does Rachel enjoy throwing shade my way, but she's got a thing for Charles that's, well, kind of creeping me out. Picture this: she bombards him with texts, providing play-by-play updates of her day. It's like she's handing out her own version of a daily newsletter, and Charles, being the transparent guy he is, would always fill me in on her latest messages. Now, let me give you a scoop on the weekend escapade that took things from weird to downright uncomfortable. Last weekend, Charles happened to be online at the unholy hour of 1 a.m. Cue Rachel's text alert. She wasn't just saying a casual hello or asking about his day. Oh no, she wanted to know what he was up to at that ungodly hour. Charles, being the good guy he is, explained that he couldn't catch any Z's, so he retorted to some late-night phone scrolling. Seems innocent, right? Well, brace yourself. Rachel, instead of accepting this as normal occurrence, decides to drop a bombshell. She straight up asks him if he wants her to help him get tired and ready to fall asleep. Now, I'm no detective, but I'm pretty sure that's not a typical offer you make to your stepdaughter's boyfriend. Charles totally freaked out. I mean, who wouldn't? He woke me up, and in the dim glow of our bedside lamp, he showed me the text. It was like reading a script from a cringe-worthy soap opera. I couldn't believe my eyes. Instead of panicking, I told him to take a deep breath and not reply to the message. We were both groggy-eyed, trying to process the absurdity of it all. I reassured him that we would deal with this bizarre situation in the light of day, and that responding to Rachel's late-night offer was definitely not on the agenda. Then the genius idea struck me. I told Charles to screenshot the messages. I mean, we needed some evidence of this Twilight Zone episode in case things escalated, or if we needed a good laugh later. Plus, who knows? Maybe we'd have to pull a "you won't believe what stepmom texted at 1 a.m. move in future family drama discussions. As we're trying to make sense of the situation, Charles couldn't help but express his discomfort. He kept asking, "Why would she even say that? It's so weird, right?" I nodded in agreement, trying to wrap my head around the fact that Rachel had taken the family drama to a whole new level. We spent the next few minutes dissecting the text, analyzing the possible meanings, as if there could be any innocent ones. Charles was genuinely puzzled, wondering if maybe she had a weird sense of humor, or if there was some family dynamic we were missing out on. After the birthday bash settled into a quiet aftermath, Charles and I found ourselves knee-deep in cleanup duty. The party vibes had faded, and reality set in. Now, here's where the plot thickens, and believe me, it's about to get real. As we tackle the post-party mess, I found myself torn about whether to spill the tea to my dad. I mean, do I really want to throw this family grenade into the mix? But just when I was wrestling with this decision, Rachel decided to push me right over the edge. Out of nowhere, she takes another jab at my appearance. I couldn't believe it. It was like she had a script dedicated to taunting me, and she just couldn't resist delivering her lines. This time, she proudly declared that despite being so old, she's still slim and fit, and oh, I should apparently take lessons from her. Seriously? At that moment, I had reached my breaking point. I snapped. I couldn't hold back any longer. I looked her square in the eye and unleashed my frustration. The only thing you seem to know is how to cross boundaries with your stepdaughter's boyfriend, I said. It was a mic drop moment, and for the first time, I wasn't just internalizing her taunts. I was confronting the absurdity head on. The room went silent. Charles paused his cleaning duties, and I could see the shock on Rachel's face. Maybe she didn't expect me to bite back, but enough was enough. I wasn't going to let her walk all over me anymore, especially not in my own home. My dad, who had been unaware of the ongoing family drama, walked in at that very moment. He looked from me to Rachel, sensing the tension. It was like the calm before the storm, and I knew I had to spill the beans about the bizarre late-night text, the weird glances, and now the insulting taunts. I took a deep breath and spilled it all. I recounted the odd incident with the tail night sleep consultant offer, the strange eye contact during the party, and the cherry on top, Rachel's unsolicited lessons on being slim and fit. I didn't hold back. I wanted my dad to know the full extent of the weirdness that had infiltrated our lives. The aftermath of my confrontation with Rachel was like stepping into a storm. At first, she pulled the classic denial card, brushing off my concerns as overthinking and overanalyzing a supposedly innocent situation. But I wasn't about to let her gaslight me into thinking I was in the wrong here. Fueled by frustration, I decided to bring in the big guns, Charles's phone. I needed concrete evidence to back up my claims, something that would make it crystal clear to my dad that this wasn't just me being paranoid. However, the plot twist hit hard. When I opened the conversation, Rachel had unsent her messages, leaving only Charles's side of the conversation visible. This move could have been a game changer if I hadn't anticipated the possibility. Thank the tech gods for the screen recording. I had the entire weird text exchange captured on video, like a virtual receipt for the family drama buffet. With a mix of anger and determination, I showed my dad the screen recording. It was like presenting evidence in a courtroom drama, except the stakes were family dynamics, not legal proceedings. The video played, revealing Rachel's late-night offer and the uncomfortable dynamics between her and Charles. It was the smoking gun, and my dad's face shifted from disbelief to anger. He turned to Rachel, demanding an explanation for her unsolicited late-night texts and bizarre behavior. It was a showdown, and Rachel, caught red-handed, had nowhere to hide. Initially, she tried to backtrack, stumbling over excuses and explanations that made less sense with every word. My dad, however, wasn't buying it. The evidence was there for all to see, and he let loose a wave of frustration and anger at Rachel. It was a side of him I hadn't seen before, but it was clear he wasn't going to tolerate this invasion of boundaries and weird behavior from his wife. As the heated exchange unfolded, I stood there, watching the family dynamic shift in real time. It was like a roller coaster of emotions: anger, disbelief, and a lingering sense of betrayal. My dad, realizing the extent of Rachel's actions, expressed his disappointment and made it clear that such behavior was unacceptable. As my dad confronted her about the bizarre late-night texts and overall weird behavior, things escalated quickly. The drama took an unexpected turn when my dad dropped the bomb. He told Rachel to pack her bags and be gone by morning. Now, Rachel wasn't about to go down without a fight. She unleashed a storm of shouting, protesting, and well, throwing things. It was like a tornado of emotions swirling in the living room. Gifts flew through the air, and the atmosphere became charged with tension. My dad, trying to keep his cool, had to face the verbal storm Rachel was brewing. It reached a point where the situation got out of hand. My dad, seeing no other way to defuse the chaos, had to pull out the big guns. He threatened to call the police if Rachel continued with the violent outburst. It was a heavy moment, a last resort to maintain some semblance of order. Feeling the pressure, Rachel dashed off to their bedroom and slammed the door shut, locking herself in. The drama had taken an unexpected turn, and the house echoed with the aftermath of the confrontation. At this point, my dad turned to Charles and me, urging us to leave. It was a tough call because I didn't want to leave my dad alone in the midst of all this chaos. But he insisted, explaining that the situation was too volatile and that this family drama was bound to take all night. With a heavy heart, we left the scene. It felt surreal to walk away from the tumult inside our own home. The drama had reached a point where our presence would only escalate things further, and my dad needed space to deal with the situation. After the chaotic showdown between my dad and Rachel, things have been a bit of a mystery. My dad, understandably, needed some time to deal with the aftermath before giving me any updates. When I checked in on him and asked how he was holding up, he was honest about not being okay at the moment. The man was dealing with a whirlwind of drama after all. However, he reassured me that he would be okay. Classic dad move, right? Always trying to be the tough guy. In his own words, he said that he's an adult and can handle it. He even went a step further and told me not to worry about him. Now, if that doesn't scream "I've got this under control," I don't know what does. It's like he's channeling his inner superhero, cape and all. While I'm concerned for my dad, I am also relieved that Rachel is officially out of our lives. No more bizarre texts, no more taunts about my appearance. It's like a weight lifted off our shoulders. The hope is that with Rachel out of the picture, the air will clear, and we can finally breathe easily without the constant tension. Fast forward to last weekend, and I finally managed to get some updates from my dad. You know, after the stormy confrontation with Rachel and her dramatic exit, the whole situation left the family dynamics hanging by a thread, and I needed to know how things were shaping up. My dad, with a wearied expression, spilled the beans. Rachel didn't waste any time. She left the home bright and early the morning after the showdown. But here's the kicker, not without adding a dash of ominous drama. Before making her exit, she threw a parting shot, telling my dad that he was going to regret doing this. Now you might be wondering, like I was, what in the world does that mean? I asked my dad about it, hoping for some clarity, but all the clouds say was that he didn't know. It was like Rachel had left a cloud of mystery hanging in the air, and my dad wasn't eager to unravel it. The ominous parting words added a layer of uncertainty to the aftermath of the family drama. Charles and I, in our quest for drama-free living, had already taken action. We swiftly blocked Rachel, sealing off any potential for further communication. It was like closing the door on a chapter we were more than ready to leave behind. The prospect of never having to interact with her again brought a sense of relief and closure to the entire ordeal. Yesterday, Rachel decided to swing by my dad's place to collect her stuff. I had this gut feeling that her exit wouldn't be a walk in the park, so I made the decision to be there, just to make sure things didn't go south and my dad didn't end up dealing with more drama. However, despite my best intentions, things took a turn for the chaos. Instead of a calm and collected exchange, my dad and Rachel ended up getting into a full-blown fight. And here's the kicker. They weren't even arguing about the recent weird texts or the years of taunts she threw my way. Nope, they decided to dive into the archives and rehash old fights from years ago. It was like watching a soap opera where characters decide to revisit every dramatic plot twist from the past. They were throwing verbal punches about things that happened ages ago, and I couldn't help but wonder if the universe has a thing for keeping the drama alive. In the midst of the chaos, Rachel dropped a bomb. She proudly declared that she was going to bleed my dad dry. Yep, you heard that right. Now, you might be wondering, why on earth she would say something like that? Well, my dad, being the voice of reason, calmly reminded her about the prenup they had signed. He basically said, "Hold on there, you're protected because you wanted that prenup." I wish you could have seen her face at that moment. The color drained away faster than water down a drain. It was like a reality check smacking her in the face. She, however, wasn't one to back down easily. She defiantly retorted that being a lawyer, she could work around it. The audacity, right? As they continued their verbal sparring, I couldn't help but shake my head at the absurdity of it all. Here they were, not discussing the recent bizarre events, but digging up the past and throwing around threats and legal maneuvers. It was like a courtroom drama unfolding in the living room. The situation became so intense that I feared it might escalate further. My dad, to avoid any more chaos, suggested that Rachel just take her stuff and leave. And you know what? She did exactly that, storming off with a whirlwind of resentment and, I can only assume, a backpack full of drama. Okay, hold on to your seats, because the family drama just took an unexpected turn. Last night, out of the blue, my dad texted me saying that he needed to talk. Naturally, I asked if he was okay, and he reassured me that everything was fine. He just wanted to meet up. So, we decided to grab lunch today. We meet up, exchange the usual pleasantries, and then he drops a bombshell on me. Brace yourselves. He's decided to get back together with Rachel. Yeah, you heard that right. I was utterly shocked, like a plot twist in a movie that you never saw coming. I couldn't hold back. I asked him why, after everything that's happened, after all the craziness I told you about. How on earth could you go back to her? His answer was a mix of surprising and frustrating. He said she apologized, claimed ignorance, and promised she would never make those body-shaming comments again. Then I brought up the elephant in the room, her messages with Charles. I mean, come on. Those were not your everyday hello, how are you texts. Dad's response? He thinks she didn't mean them to be flirty. I kid you not. I pressed further, asking if he genuinely believed her, and he said yes I do. He even dropped the L word, saying that he loves her and is ready to move on, and he hopes I can too. Well, you can imagine my reaction. I chuckled, not because it was funny, but out of sheer disbelief. I told him that just because he's decided to play the blind eye game, it doesn't mean that I have to join in. I laid it out. As long as Rachel is in that house, my feet won't touch the floor there. I grabbed my stuff and left the restaurant, leaving him trying to call after me. Once I got home, I spilled the beans to Charles, and let me tell you, he couldn't believe it either. It's like we were in some alternate universe where the script took a nosedive into the absurd. We both sat there, processing the craziness that unfolded over lunch. Dad may want to patch things up with Rachel, but for me that's a hard pass. I need some space to wrap my head around this bizarre plot twist. I told him just that when he tried to call me. Sometimes you need a breather to process the unexpected chaos that family dynamics can throw at you. As I navigate through this unexpected turn of events, one thing's for sure. The drama isn't over. I don't know what's going to happen to family weekend nights, but I have decided that I'm not going to be the bigger person here. Pun intended. And that was a wrap up for today's story. Thank you very much for listening. Smash that like button for me and subscribe for more stories. Thanks again, and we'll be seeing you in the next one.